This is the definitive guide to UK defined contribution pension transfers. Okay, so if you've got a defined contribution pension scheme, it means you've typically worked for your employer in the United Kingdom. Defined contribution pension schemes are relatively simple. I say simple in comparison to their older brother, defined benefit pension transfers, which are much more complicated. Inside a defined contribution scheme, the eventual money you'll have in retirement is relatively simple. It's what contributions yourself and your employer have made. You may well no longer be making contributions if you're inside something such as the SIP, plus the growth that you receive inside the scheme over the course of time, minus the charges that you pay. It's a very simple equation, and that is what you'll get in retirement. And that's why it's called defined contribution, because the amount you'll get in retirement is defined by the contributions that you and your employer will make. Currently speaking in the UK, remember, you are allowed to contribute £60,000 per annum to your defined contribution schemes, typically your SIP. As such, this has gone up from £40,000 from last year. So this is a key reason to get in touch and speak with us if you're looking to be more tax efficient in terms of your pensions. Okay, so when it comes to transferring a defined contribution pension scheme, legally speaking, as long as you have no safeguarded benefits inside your defined contribution scheme, which sometimes can be something such as guaranteed annuities and those types of things, GAR as they're called in the industry, 99% of the time you do not need to take any regulated financial advice in order to transfer a defined contribution scheme. So you'll be thinking, well, why are you doing videos about it? Because the majority of people still use a financial advisor in order to complete this. It's a little bit like saying with a car, if you drive a nice car, you don't have to go to the garage to get your engine done, but you do because you don't know what you're doing. Yes, you can watch a few YouTube videos, but it certainly doesn't make you an expert with your money. Unfortunately, when it comes to finances and people's money, it's one area which is most important in their life, which we are not trained on very well at school, but one area that people think they can DIY. Yes, of course, you can DIY it, but the results are not necessarily going to be good as having professional advice. Also, when it comes to actually physically doing defined contribution pension transfers, a year ago or 2 years ago, defined contribution pension transfers were simple. It would take 20, 30, 40, 50, maybe maximum 60% of the time to do a defined contribution pension transfer compared to a defined benefit. Fast forward now, that is not true. With all the new legislation which has been in place and regulation from the UK government, particularly if you're overseas or even as a UK resident, you are going to have to go through rounds and rounds and rounds of due diligence and compliance with your ceding scheme in the UK. Your ceding scheme wants to make sure that you're not transferring out to some idiot place, etc. So there's a lot of compliance and work that needs to be done. This can now take anywhere between, the fastest a DC pension transfer can be done is a matter of weeks. It can also take months and months and months though. You will need to call your scheme, harry them, chase them, send them paperwork. Some of them ask for original signatures, which in my opinion is absolute rubbish in this day and age. If the HMRC, if the courts in England can accept DocuSign and electronically signed paperwork, why won't your scheme in the UK? Put that into context. If you go in and try to invest your money with anyone in the UK, very rarely will they ask you for a wet signature. Oh, but your scheme in the UK wants a wet signature for you to get your money back? I personally think it's a way of just slowing down the process, as they can say, oh, we want to match it with the client's passport. The client's passport you have on file is from the 80s or the 90s. It's probably not even valid anymore. Obviously, you're supposed to send in a new passport as part of compliance, but from my perspective, a DocuSign or something like that is just as legal than a wet signature. So I'm not really sure why they do this. So once you've transferred your pension as well, your defined contribution pension, you then need to understand how you're going to invest it. Now, a lot of clients say, oh, I'm just going to have passively managed. I don't need any financial advice. I'm going to keep it low cost, passive. Yeah, done. That's what Warren Buffett was saying as well. But what passive? Where are you going to invest it in the markets? Oh, I'm just going to invest it passively. It's what people say all the time. There is no passive investment in the world, because even passive tracker funds, you need to decide what level of equity you're going to have, what level of fixed income you're going to have, what geographies are you going to invest it in, North America, China, Asia, Africa, the UK, Europe. How are you going to do that split? Those are active decisions. So here at Cameron James, we use a lot of passive funds, keep the cost of our portfolios extremely low. However, a huge amount of active decisions go into which passive funds we are going to include in our underlying portfolios. If you're finding the video valuable, please like and subscribe below to let YouTube know that we're valuable and that we're helping you guys with your pensions. It's really important, as I've mentioned, for the underlying portfolio to ensure that you are in the correct risk profile. A lot of people will say, oh, I want to invest in Tesla, I want to invest in this, I want to invest in that. Can do very well, but you can also lose a huge amount of money. Working with a proper financial advisor who is regulated by the FCA will help ensure you have a portfolio which is in line with your attitude to risk and risk profile. So, in terms of defined contributions, if you have any questions, you can book an appointment with myself or one of our senior financial advisors below. And between now and then, as always, take care with your UK pension assets. Thank you.